Good morning, Puma students. How are you today? I hope you're enjoying your day so far. When some of you sent me messages and things yesterday saying, "Oh my goodness, we opened this sound unit lesson 10 and it was like, oh my God, there's too much here and we're not sure what to do and it's very confusing." So my hope is that I can help you out a little bit with this little video to guide you through. And one of the things that you should notice is if you go back to your classroom is that I actually took this bigger assignment and I broke it up by day. So this is my sort of suggestion to you as to what to do each day that you're working. Okay. I also extended the due date to Friday to make this a little bit easier for you. So if you open the assignment, and whenever you open one of our assignments, you're going to notice that the instructions that you need are there, but also that there's two key places that you need to go. One is the website, this right here, that I've created for you. It's been a lot of fun to create. I've certainly made plenty of mistakes along the way. You've probably found some of them. But So for today, since we're working on lesson 10, you would click on lesson 10 and that would bring you to your directions, in other words, or your guide throughout this process. And in this case, like for example, the first thing it says in your virtual interactive science notebook, page 1, write write our lesson question and add your name to the slide. So you would come over to your virtual interactive science notebook, you'd go to that first slide and do that. Once you were done with that, you would click next. And that would bring you to the next thing you need to do, which in this case is an update of your progress tracker. You've done this a couple times already for lesson 7 and lesson 8, and this is just adding to that. So you need to go back to that one that you've been using and just go on to that next spot and update the progress tracker, because we finally figured out, like, sound needs something. It can't travel without matter, whether it's a solid or liquid or a gas or whatever. It can't travel without something. And you click next. And that will bring you to this idea that we are going to use a simulation in order to figure this out. And you'll remember that we used simulations in the cup unit. This was the one that we used. And what this page is asking you to do is to go to the second page in your science notebook and say, if we were going to model sound using a simulation, what would we include? And there's 3 little prompts here for you to fill in on that. Then when you click next, it's going to bring you to this page for visualizing sound. And by the way, check this video out. Totally cool. I wish I had seen it in the real world. So there are a lot of ways of modeling sound and using a simulation. And this is asking you to sort of put that together. And this is the piece that really sort of confused more people. So let's go to page 3 in our virtual interactive science notebook. And I can share this with you a little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in on it a little bit to make it a little bit easier to see. So I'm just going to zoom in on this part up here. Sure I am. Let's try that again. There. That would make it a little bit easier for us to check it out. So the way this works is it talks about the feature of the simulation. And if you were to look down here at the bottom, this is what the simulation is going to look like when you're using it. So if it says the dark blue rectangle right here, that means something. It wasn't just randomly put there, as the blue dots mean something. They're not just randomly put there. And they, as an example for that, they showed you how to fill in the dark blue rectangle. So they're saying the dark blue rectangle is like a tiny part of the surface of the drum, or the surface of the tuning fork, or maybe the surface of a speaker. That's the thing that can move back and forth. Okay, the thing that vibrates, creating the sound. Then down here it says, well, if that's the thing that's vibrating, what are the blue dots? What do they represent down here around us? This next 2 parts here are sort of key. So they should sound a little bit familiar. If you're making the dark blue rectangle move faster, it's changing something in a sound. And if you're making it move farther, it's also changing something in a sound. And I'll give you a little hint. One, making it move faster or making it move farther is either going to be changing frequency or amplitude or loudness. So that's what that's going to represent. You just have to figure out which one is which, and then fill in why it represents that and how that's going to work. And this is where I'd stop for day 1. If you get here and you've got these well filled in and thought through, you have done a great job. And tomorrow when you come back, or the next day when you come back, you'll start here, you'll click next, and it'll bring you to the next day, which is using the simulation. I hope this is helpful, and if you have questions, as always, send me a message.